On the news tonight, as ASU strike enters 7th month, federal government promises to review no work, no pay directive. Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola says terrorists evaded Kuje Correctional Center despite presence of well-armed security operatives. And Nigeria and Poland enters agreement on agricultural development. Well, many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogorinde. There are indications that the federal government may reverse its decision not to pay the striking university lecturers who have been at home for the past 7 months. This follows a meeting held behind closed doors and attended by the Minister of Education, Adamu, Pro-Chancellors, Chairman of Councils, as well as Vice-Chancellors of universities. Giving details on the outcome of the meeting, the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Federal Ministry of Education, Ben Kung, said a 14-member committee was constituted to review its decision not to pay the striking lecturers for the period they have been at home. He added that the committee would also look into other contending areas of the renegotiation with ASU. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, has disclosed that no fewer than 65 security operatives were on guard at the correctional facility in Kuje Federal Capital Territory on the day it was invaded. Aregbesola made this known when he appeared before the House of Representatives Committees on National Security and Interior. On July 5, 2022, gunmen attacked the Kuje prison facility and freed hundreds of inmates, including suspected Boko Haram members. The minister told the lawmakers that well-armed security operatives were attached to the correctional center to prevent an attack on the facility. The minister said 994 inmates, out of which 64 were terror suspects, were in the facility on the day of the attack.
Personnel stationed in Kuje to protect the facility on the day of the invasion were 31 military personnel of the Nigerian Army, 5 personnel of MOPO 21, 5 personnel of MOPO 50, 2 personnel of Counter-Terrorism Unit of the Nigeria Police, 2 personnel of Kuje Police Division, 7 personnel of Nigeria Immigration Service, 30 personnel of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, 10 personnel of Correctional Arms Corps. These 65 people were there for specific responsibility of resisting and preventing any attack. And they were all armed.
Well, to discuss this further, former Deputy Director, Department of State Services, DSS, Dennis Samakri, joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, help us make sense of this. Is it possible for terrorists to overpower more than 65 well-armed security operatives and invade a correctional facility in Nigeria?
It is very, very, I don't know how to describe it, but it's, I'm speechless that 65 well-armed security operatives were on duty. And then, of course, these people came and without any resistance, they broke into the prison, freed all the hostages, all the prisoners that were there, and then took them away. It's indescribable. But it tells me a simple story. It tells me that all these well-armed operatives were not alert on duty. Operational alertness was missing because there is no way, if they were ready, at least they could resist them. But no resistance, and then of course they came in there and did what they want to do and left. So I believe something is seriously wrong.
Now, what does this revelation by Aregbesola say of Nigeria's current security architecture?
It shows that there was no readiness. I think there were all the different, and I don't understand why we have different sectors of military people, mopols, NSCDC, prison guards, all of them were present. What are they doing? What is their job? What is their operational order? How are they going to operate under attack? Has there been any kind of rehearsal of, if there is an attack, what are we going to do? So I believe strongly what they are doing was just lazing around, maybe discussing with either prisoners or discussing with people who are selling food outside and just taking it easy. Because if there was operational efficiency, it's not possible. At least there will be resistance. And at least we are going to see some casualties on the part of the terrorists that came in there. But nothing happened. There was no casualty on the part of the terrorists. They just blew up the place, freed their people, and left. And no heads have rolled. You see, so that tells you the lackadaisical attitude with which we look at such things. Because by now, I think some people would have lost their jobs. And then, of course, the minister himself came in there to explain that. I don't know. The reps should have asked him follow-up questions on what actually happened.
And recall that when this incident happened, some Nigerians speculated that perhaps these officials or these security operatives were not well armed. But the minister said they were well armed, which of course begs the question of what exactly these arms and ammunition were used for. But it's still a question we hope the federal government will give answers to. But unfortunately, it's this much you can take on the matter. But Dennis Amakri, former Deputy Director, Department of State Services, DSS, thank you very much for your time and your contribution. President Muhammadu Buhari and his Polish counterpart Andrzej Duda have signed a memorandum of understanding on agriculture to strengthen collaboration between both countries in the sector. Duda disclosed this while briefing journalists at the presidential villa in Abuja shortly after a closed-door session with Buhari. According to him, the MOU becomes necessary in the light of Russia's aggression in Ukraine and the consequent food crisis. Duda said Nigeria was the only African country Poland has signed an agreement of strategic dialogue with, which includes the MOU on agricultural cooperation. On his part, President Buhari welcomed the hosting of a dialogue that would bring together various members of the business sectors of Nigeria and Poland, adding that it is an excellent initiative to increase the level of trade between both countries.
And just to end, I would like to say that and underline that over the last 60 years, we have been able to establish very good relations, bilateral relations and contacts between Poland and Nigeria on the people-to-people level. And that has happened due to many Nigerians studying in Poland, but also due to the stays of Polish scientists and also due to the input of Polish engineers in the building of infrastructure in Nigeria. I do believe that these good people-to-people relations will also spill over on other fields, and they will contribute to the development of the economic relations between both our countries, which are so immensely important nowadays.
Moving on, building on its resolve towards ensuring an all-inclusive electoral process in the 2023 general elections and beyond, the Independent National Electoral Commission has presented a draft of the 2022 revised framework and regulations for voting by internally displaced persons in the country. The INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, made the presentation at a stakeholder validation meeting in Abuja. The move by INEC is to ensure that no eligible Nigerian is left out of the electoral process on account of displacement, disability, or other circumstances that may limit citizens' participation in the electoral process. Our correspondent, Emeka Amako, files in this report from Abuja.
Nigeria for long has been plagued by security challenges rising from insecurity in the north, secessionist groups, farmers' elders crises, and other communal conflicts across states in the country. These challenges have left in their wake wanton destructions, countless deaths, and millions of persons displaced and eventually camped in makeshift homes. In a bid to prevent the exclusion of this group from exercising their franchise, INEC has introduced the policy and framework of voting for internally displaced persons.
To incorporate not only the displacement of citizens arising from armed conflict, but also natural emergencies such as flooding. Thirdly, to align the framework with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022, specifically Section 24, subsection 1, which empowers the Commission to ensure that, as far as practicable, no Nigerian is disenfranchised on account of displacement by emergency situations.
Stakeholders at the event lauded the electoral body for its inclusivity drive, while also assuring of their support towards the successful implementation of the framework and regulations.
The Committee on the Review of Internally Displaced Persons Voting Framework embarked on the process of systematically revising the framework and gathering data on IDPs, including identification of affected polling units and votes registration areas, so as to plan on how best to provide them with electoral services across the states of the Federation.
The efforts of the Commission subsequently yielded fruits in the amendment of the Electoral Act 2022. The legal provision provided an excellent foundation upon which to build a sustainable and strategic framework for IDP voting in Nigeria. The policy document proposed by INEC to guide the conduct of IDP voting operations and bring the IDP communities into the voting net is worth applauding and support from all stakeholders.
The INEC chairman used the opportunity to dismiss claims that the Commission failed to display the voters' register as provided by Section 19 of the Electoral Act 2022. He assured Nigerians that the Commission would display the comprehensive register in all the 8,809 wards and 774 local government areas in the country, as stipulated by the Constitution. Abisola Adebayo, TV360 News.
The Center Against Injustice and Domestic Violence has urged the federal government to refrain from merging the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and the Nigeria Police Force. Giving reasons for the group's stance at a press conference in Lagos, the Executive Director, Kaidov Benga Soloki, explained that the proposed merger is a marriage of inconvenience. Speaking further on some of the achievements of the NSCDC, Soloki said rather than scrapping the security outfit, the federal government should increase the staff strength as well as funding of the corps.
Any attempt to either scrap or merge the NSCDC with the Nigerian Police Force will be resisted with every means humanly possible. This is not the time for scrapping or attempting to scrap the NSDC, most especially now that we are daily being faced with all manners of security challenges. Nigeria is a country of over 200 million population with less than 1 million security personnel across board. With these statistics, how do you think we can conveniently fight insecurity in the land when we are under police? From its humble beginning, the NSDC has evolved into an indispensable force to reckon with, garnering critical acclaim for its courageous exploits. With billions of naira being lost annually to oil vendors across Nigeria, the crucial role being played by NSDC in curbing this hydra-headed monster is being appreciated more than ever before. On this note, I call the federal government not to merge the Civil Defense Corps with the Nigerian Police as being envisaged. Doing that would be a crime against the land, and this action, if implemented, will also cause more harm than good.
Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, petrol to hit 443 naira per litre. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, has disclosed that no fewer than 65 security operatives were on guard at the correctional facility in Kuje, Federal Capital Territory, on the day it was invaded. On July 5, 2022, gunmen attacked the Kuje prison facility and freed hundreds of inmates, including suspected Boko Haram members. We also told you that there are indications that the federal government may reverse its decision not to pay the striking university lecturers who have been at home for the past 7 months. Giving details, the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Federal Ministry of Education, Ben Gung, said a 14-member committee was constituted to review its decision not to pay the striking lecturers for the period they have been at home and other contending issues. But in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. A Hong Kong doctor has been arrested on suspicion of issuing more than 7,000 coronavirus vaccination exemption certificates without proper diagnosis of the patients. According to local media, police raided Dr. Annie Chiwe Sukmu's private clinic on Monday after complaints that the 64-year-old general practitioner had abused the government's vaccine exemption procedures. Meanwhile, Chiwe has been released on bail pending further investigation. A new COVID-19 treatment Quick Start Consortium will be launched this week. This comes as part of efforts to support ministries of health in 10 low and middle income countries to immediately provide rapid testing and oral antiviral treatments for high-risk patients and scale up wider access through 2023 as the government programs moves from launch to scale. At the high-level event, global health leaders will discuss a 10-country project aimed at providing COVID antivirals and testing capacity for high-risk patients in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. We'll take another break here and return with more stories and business to stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Let's now join Abisola Adebayo for more stories in business. Over to you, Bisola.
Thank you very much, Folashade. Welcome to Business News. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority has revealed that Nigerians will pay as much as 443 naira for a litre of premium motor spirit PMS if the product is deregulated. The Executive Director of Finance and Accounts of the company, Abiodun Adeniji, made this known while presenting the agency's projections for the 2023-2025 medium-term expenditure framework before the House of Representatives Committee on Finance. Adeniji further explained that the daily depot truck out from January to August 2022 stands at 62.9 million liters per day. The lawmakers were, however, not satisfied with what they described as conflicting figures being dished out by different government agencies on the average liters of PMS being evacuated daily.
As of today, the subsidy still reigns, and we believe the deregulation will come up at one point in time. Based on an average of what, if deregulated, the price of petroleum, of PMS will be today, will be about 272 naira per liter. However, from our projection for the next 23, between 2023 to 2024, our projections is that the open market price of PMS will go as high as 443, and this is based on the fact of what I call changes in the dollar rate and the Ukraine war that is going on. So, which definitely destabilizes the market, and the prices are going, higher and higher all over the world.
We're not seeing synergy between the various agencies in the sector. So you need to work together. Let's have harmonized position, whatever it is that you're coming up in terms of report. It's not just about the volume now. There are a lot of reports that are not just aligning. So let's take it back home. You can, of course, like I said, we will do our own bet, but you also have a role to play.
Well, we'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. The balance the NGX craves badly seems far-fetched as losses from the previous trading session spilled into today's trade, leaving the market in a shaky stance at 0.69% share of the all-share index, giving the bear a stronghold over the market. Still in the 49,000 level, investors lost 187 billion naira as the share prices of 18 firms depreciated against 11 gainers. Profit taking is obviously evident in the financial services today, as we have MPF Microfinance Bank and Regency Assurance with the most losses. We see a combined 15 kobo shed off these equities. Despite the losses, the market summary shows better performance as the market witnessed an 89% improvement in turnover, 7% improvement in deals. That's why we can see 138 million units of shares valued at 2.7 billion naira exchanging hands in 4,427 deals. Anyways, it's quite early to predict a positive or negative trend for the rest of the week, but we'll keep our fingers crossed and remain optimistic, hoping that the market rebounds before Friday. Over now to the global scene, it's a mixed trading day for these stocks as the FTSE and Asia's Nikkei are trading up, while the US, the Dow Jones, has had a volatile trading session as investors weigh what strong economic data and rising rates mean for the Federal Reserve's aggressive tightening campaign, which is why we can see here the FTSE recording a 0.18% increase, the Nikkei Japan recording 0.025% increase. Meanwhile, the Dow Jones unfortunately could not manage to keep its head above water as it ended in 0.13% decline at the close of trading today. That's all on stock market reports. Back to Folashade for the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks, Bisila, for that update. And on the foreign scene, Liz Truss officially became Britain's new Prime Minister at an audience with the head of state, Queen Elizabeth II, after the resignation of Boris Johnson. The former Foreign Secretary, aged 47, was seen in an official photograph shaking hands with the monarch to accept her offer to form a new government and become the 15th Prime Minister of a 70-year reign. The symbolic ceremony took place at the sovereign's remote Balmoral retreat in the Scottish Highlands as the Queen was deemed unfit to return to London due to ill health. And in sports, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, has announced Lagos as a hosting state for the 12th Nigerian Navy Games from September 8th to 12th. Gambo also disclosed that the event, which would be held at the Nigerian Navy Sports Complex, Navy Town, Lagos, is aimed at boosting physical and military strength of its personnel, in combating crimes at the sea and shore. The Chief of Naval Staff, who spoke during the press briefing at the Western Naval Command Officers' Mess in Apapa, Lagos, represented by Chief of Administration, Naval Headquarters, Rear Admiral Jason Gbassa, said that 1,820 officers, 6 commands of the Nigerian Navy would participate in different exercises.
The Nigerian Navy will use the opportunity of organizing these 12 Nigerian Navy Games to also commission the sports complex in Navy Town. The 12 Nigerian Navy Games will involve 6 commands of the Nigerian Navy: the Naval Headquarters Command, the Western Naval Command, the Eastern Naval Command, the Logistics Command, the Naval Training Command, and the Central Naval Command, including the Naval Doctrine Command that will participate under the Naval Headquarters. Sports and physical training have always been a bedrock of the Nigerian Navy's daily routine, daily mental and physical routine for service of personnel ashore and at sea. It is for this reason and the benefits derivable from participation in sports that the Nigerian Navy pays particular attention to daily, routine, and programmed periodic sports engagements like the Nigerian Navy Games. The organization of sports meets such as the Nigerian Navy Games also avails the opportunity to identify and develop talents that will proudly represent our dear nation in international competitions in the future.
And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogorinde. Bye for now.